Hey everyone. The gifting event is about to begin. We've got about 11 minutes on it, and by the time, this video is uploaded, the event will have already started. And before I do, my trades for the crystals that I'm going to open, I wanted to take a minute to say that I think that this is the grossest event that we've ever seen Kabam put on. Now, some would argue that every single year, the gifting event's the grossest event. It encourages an unlimited spending potential, whereas other events, at least they have limits to them. Technically, Cav crystals, they've never had limits, but I mean, as long as other players still can get champions, it's not like players can rank up the unlimited champs that you can get out of Cav crystals. And that's kind of what sets this event apart. The gifting event, especially when looking at the top ranked rewards here, it's got this 3 to 4 rank up gem to it. And normally, this might not be such a bad thing if players were a little bit further along in our rank 4 progressions. But taking a look at other events in game, you could see that, there's a very intentional scarcity to these materials. That there's nothing that you can actually do in game. There's no amount that you can play getting these insignificant amounts of fragments in order to even reasonably keep up. Like, of course, there's always going to be an advantage to spending, right? And I've been playing this game for 6 years, 100% free to play. I totally get it. There's an advantage to spending, and in general, I'm okay with it. And for the gifting event, in the past, I've always seen it just as like a trade-off, where the good outweighed the bad, where it's fun trading these crystals, and popping crystals, it's just fun, right? And so getting to do that at a much higher quantity this time of year compared to other times of year, it's just fun, man. And usually the milestone rewards, they're pretty good to go for. And some will definitely push the limits and go for ranked rewards here, which will give a little advantage. I say little, but it's always been a pretty decent advantage, right? But this year it's different, man. The advantage is at a point where the bad of this event outweighs the good, in my opinion. I like this too. There's an Abyss Nexus crystal selector here, where instead of leaving something special to the Abyss, they said, no, in fact, you don't even have to do the Abyss. You may have already done it. The player's dedicated enough to get these things, but no, we can remove anything that's special in the game and just say, well, give us enough money and you'll get that special thing. That's fine. Let's just sell everything, right? These are just the solo ranked rewards. Then taking a look at the alliance-based ranked rewards, there's also a pretty substantial amount of fragments of these catalysts. It's 1.5 here, so definitely lower than the 3 of each that you're getting through that rank up gem. But still quite the hefty amount of catalysts. And then looking at the greater gifting crystals, well, there's also catalyst fragments in here. Now, because, at least of the time of recording this video, the event is not actually live yet, we don't know exactly how many fragments are coming out of these crystals. But this is something that was data mined a few days ago at this point. And when that information was data mined, someone actually asked me, another competitive player from an alliance outside of 4Loki, kind of asked my perspective and was kind of saying that, most of the other competitive alliances, they feel like this is some BS right here, that it kind of undermines everything else, all the effort that was put in throughout the year. Why bother spending so much time ranking up your champions, your defenders, arranging defenses, practicing so that you can, not give up deaths in war, picking up other offers for prestige so you can, be competitive there. I mean, why bother with all that stuff when it's just completely undermined by an event like this? And they asked if I can, do something, do anything. They didn't even necessarily know what could be done. And likewise, I'm not sure what can be done either. But, just through having this channel, they asked if I could maybe get a message out, try to get a response from Kabam, something, right? Because for them, this destroys the game. And I essentially said no, or at least probably not. My reasoning is that there's a finite amount of time, and basically, I want to spend that time just making cool things. This is the short story of it, okay? I know it's already kind of long, but the short reason as to why I said no, at least, is I just want to spend my time making cool things. There's a lot of people out there that ask for advice on starting a YouTube channel, and I even have parents ask me, like, their kids wants to start a YouTube channel, like, what's some advice? And for those people that have thought about making a channel or even have kids, like that, do any of you, when wanting to make a channel, is it your intention to make videos like this? Maybe a few of you, but most people, they just want to do something that's cool. They just want to have a good time making something creative about something that they enjoy. And that's what I want to do. And making videos like this is it's a distraction from it. Some of these videos can take dozens of hours. There's even a video I put out this year that took 200 hours to make. And any other video, it kind of just distracts from it. And it's not something that I want to do. I don't want to make this video. Very cliche thing for a YouTuber to say. I don't want to make this video as they're making it, right? But the thing is, I don't want to make those other creative videos either now. Seeing something like this, it kills not only my drive to be competitive in MCOC, but it even kills my drive to make things that are fun involving MCOC. Because if I'm not having fun with the game, then I'm not having fun making content about it. So here I am. From my own perspective, I maybe by the end of the event, I haven't looked at all of the other rewards, but let's say we place maybe top 1 to 5%. Yeah, there's no rank 4 resources there. What about the milestones? No, there's no rank 4 resources there. The solo event, can we take another look at that? Because if there's no rank 4 resources in here, I'm not even going to get my first rank 4 when other players are going to have a full profile of rank 4s. Even when I finish up that there's nothing here. You have to be in the top ranks. Even when I finish up 7.3 that I've just been leaving there because the insignificant number of fragments is not going to be enough to do it. I'm not going to have 1, and other players are going to have 4. Now I get it, right? There's always that advantage to spending, but the advantage has just been growing and growing exponentially for years now, and it kind of has to, in a way, right? It's not like suddenly it's just a temporary advantage. No, these catalysts that you get, they're permanent, right? So if you think about it, each time, each event, you get a few more permanent catalysts that you can inject into your champions. Well, of course, that advantage is going to grow. That can only grow unless those players are not playing the game and only spending. Even then, it still grows. Because like I said, this event, it undermines everything else done throughout the year. So, but it's been an exponential growth due to 2 things, I would say, over time. One was the introduction of the Cavalier Crystal, where you could theoretically spend an infinite amount of money, as long as your bank account allows, to get all these champions. And then 2, once those Cav Crystals became a little bit less enticing, because players already have so many 6-star champs, and we're not seeing 7-star champs in the game, then that spending, that shift, that enticement from Kabam shifts over to the catalysts. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing the results of no 7 stars in the game and Kabam still wanting to make money. So the way that they're incentivizing players to make that money is by selling these catalysts. Instead of, giving them out in game, instead of giving an appropriate reward to the content to still give an advantage to spenders, but, not have that advantage be so drastic, they said, no, we can't do that. We have to make this incredibly enticing. So if you want to be competitive, you're going to need to put your bank account on life support in order to do so. Otherwise, don't bother. So it's, again, I'm coming at this a little bit from my perspective, but also from the perspective of other competitive players, because I as soon as I started playing this game, I understood that I was going to be at a disadvantage, and I was totally fine with that. But the other players that, spend, $1,000, maybe $2,000 a year or something like that, picking up these offers to remain competitive, they're just getting slapped in the face by an event like this. And I can't imagine that the players in those positions, maybe the top 20 alliances or something like that, because for a lot of players, what does it matter, right? A lot of players, if you're not at the top of things, then it doesn't necessarily matter how much further above they are, right? If they get in a couple additional rank ups, who cares? But for the players who are at, maybe in the top 20 or so, even if just one of those alliances makes a big leap above you, or maybe a couple of the alliances or something like that, well, that's a substantial part of the player base that you associate with. And that's what kind of kills that competitive drive. It even very much so hurts the drive that I've had for the solo competitive mode, a mode that I haven't been able to shut up about for the past couple of months. Something that, in my mind, was almost like an MCOC version 2, because I felt like it was going to have that much of an impact on how I approached MCOC. Well, do I really want to bother? I already knew going into it that I was going to be at a heavy disadvantage, but it's like that advantage is just being, there's a certain power level. There's a certain power level gap that it feels like, okay, I'm at a disadvantage, but I can still have fun, right? And then there's a certain power level gap that you can no longer do that. Is probably the best way I can put it. It's hard to put it into words exactly how it feels, but let's say a 10% advantage or something. Okay, I can still try. A 50% advantage. Okay, I don't want to try. That kind of feeling to it. So anyway, that's the gifting event, and yeah, I'll be back in a little bit to trade some crystals, because I'm still gonna do that, but I don't know exactly what this means for MCOC's future. Kabam needs to really seriously rethink how they're handling events like this and how they're going to put out rewards. And that like this is the problem too, is like, okay, well, you could say, okay, just release some content that also gives some juicy rewards, right? 7.4 100% or something like that. This is just maybe a temporary temporary advantage that these players are getting. No, it's, if you do that, then you also undermine the amount of money that players have spent in this event. So it's like a lose-lose, except for, Kabam's bank account, which is growing. I want Kabam to make money, because that's the only way they can continue developing this game. They work hard to make the game and stuff like that, right? But there's a certain level where it's just extremely gross of what's going on here. And yeah, that level, that was crossed. That was crossed in a big way. It's been crossed, but this just really hammers it home. Anyway, that'll do it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.